Hello, and welcome to The Swamp. The Swamp is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And my name is Dara, and I'm here as always with my lovely co-host,
Emily. What's going on?
And so if you're new here, my name is Dara. I'm here with Emily. We're The Swamp. We cover movies each week, and as you can read, hopefully, the title of this, we will be covering the Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe 2005 film adaptation today. We've been doing Snow Month, which is like week theme. We try to do a theme every month that kind of ties our movie selections together, and week theme this month with snow. But there is an abundance of snow in this movie, I'll say.
This one checks out.
Yeah, one of our stronger snow-based film picks.
Mm-hmm. Last week we had metaphoric snow. This week we have a good handful of snow. Yeah, we got actual
snow. Also, like a snow-based villain.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I would say that really lends itself to it.
Yeah, one of the things that we didn't want to do this month was holiday movies, and I totally forgot that fucking old Saint Nick, Santa Claus, just
rolls up with weapons. Like, we'll get into it if we do a little recap, but yeah, literal Santa Claus shows up and gives these children knives, because he's like, you're about to go fight in a war, and so you're gonna need this shit. And I'm like, dude, Lucy is like 6. Give her a jump rope, a doll. Like Susan does not look like she wants an archery set. She looks like she wants, like, a diary, or, like, a nice book.
Yeah, she's at that age where she needs to start writing down her feelings. Question, though.
Yes,
you
please.
said, and we didn't do this last week, give us a snow update. I know you're not actually in Syracuse right now.
So, the day that we posted our Fargo episode, it started snowing, and I knew it was, like, fate, because I'm like, we did the snowiest movie, and it triggered the snow. So, it started snowing as soon as we posted our Fargo episode. Not a ton of it has stuck, but it has been, like, consistently coming down. So, I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, the snow right now is at, like a 3 or so. Like, you can't actually, like, go outside and, like, make snowballs or anything, but it's, like, kind of clumped up on the side of the roads.
Yeah, enough to get mushy.
Yeah. So that's where we're at in upstate New York with snow. I know there's not much down here in New England.
There is nothing down here in Connecticut.
But to unnaturally transition, I was gonna say, like, speaking of snow, you know where there's no snow? Australia. But, so anybody who enjoys listening to our show, we were guests on an awesome podcast called 3 Tickets To. They're from Australia. They cover movies and TV shows and pop culture, and they're super awesome, and they had us on as guests, so I'll link that in the description below if you want to go check out their show, or listen to the episode we were on, where we talked about the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies for the big lead up to the new one that just came out. So we talked about the first 2 from that, so go check it out, and they're gonna come be guests on our show sometime in the near future, so we're super excited to have them.
Have you seen the new Spider-Man? I saw you tweet about it a little bit.
I saw it the day it came out.
Hot.
Because I just don't want to have to curate my social media viewing experience to avoid spoilers, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'll just go the day it comes out then, you know? So then I don't care. Then I can start participating in conversation as soon as it happens. It was good. It was, like, exactly what you would expect from Marvel, MCU Spider-Man. Like, it very much up to the standards, up to my expectations. Wasn't anything spectacular or phenomenal, but, like, we all knew that. And yeah, basically everything everyone is saying about it is true.
Yeah, no.
As far as like rumors or whatever, like, nothing that was supposed to be a big shock was a big shock, because we all fucking knew, like, kind of going into it. But it was good, and I'm glad I saw it. Thick Daddy Dr. Alfred Molina. Oh, I guess, spoilers, there's, like, people from the other Spider-Mans in it, I guess. But if you didn't know that, it's literally in the trailer. That Doc Ock and Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin come back, and they are just, that is, like, the best part that Spider-Man has ever been, is, like, back those villains in that era. So, like, just to get a little bit of that, just kind of made these movies a little more tolerable for me. So
I heard that Willem Dafoe went absolutely insanely hard for this. We talked about on the podcast that
I'll link in the description. We talked about how Jake Gyllenhaal kind of cashed it in for Spider-Man 2. No, Willem Dafoe said, not I. The day where they talk about picking up your check, no. He fucking brought it. Mm-hmm. He put everyone in the scene to shame every single time, as we come to expect.
I heard that he did all of his own stunts, supposedly, at like nearly 70 years old. He was like, the only way I'm doing this movie is if I do all of my own stunts.
Holy shit, that's awesome. I mean, he is just kind of like gliding around on his little Green Goblin board. Though. So all he has to do is kind of like crouch a little bit. But yeah, that is like the equivalent to skateboarding, which I can't do, so.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. But anyways, this is not the movie we're talking about this week. This week, we're talking about Narnia, which I don't think I've watched since maybe 2007.
Same. Literally same. I was super into this as a kid.
I was gonna ask.
Read the books. Yeah, I was like always kind of a fantasy, sci-fi genre kind of gal. I was always, really into Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Narnia was no exception. I definitely, like, me and my, like, group of weird friends in, like, 3rd grade were super into this.
How many of the books did you read? Like, all of them?
No, I want to say, like, maybe just the first one. And I don't have that strong of a memory of it. I feel like maybe we read it in school for some reason.
I remember trying to read it in school, but also I was in like the 2nd grade, and then I was like, I don't know how to read quite yet. Yeah.
I feel like somebody maybe read it to me. Like, I think that maybe it was like read aloud to my class in like 2nd or 3rd grade or something like that. But yeah, I have like pretty vague memories of the book. I definitely did not read the whole series. Like, I was not diehard or anything. But I remember seeing this in the theaters when it came out and going to like the opening night for the 2nd one. I remember like being so into it at the time that I was like on the hype train for it, which the 2nd and 3rd installments of this franchise are not good.
That doesn't shock me.
Not. And, like, even as a kid, I was like, oh, that was kind of shit, huh?
Yeah, I think I've only seen maybe the first 15 minutes of, like, the 2nd one on, like, probably, like, ABC Family in, like, 2012 or something like that, and that was all I needed to see. But this movie...
But I agree, though. I fully had not sat down and watched this movie until, since I was less than 10 years old. So it was definitely a shock. I really vividly remembered some parts of it, I remember so clearly.
I'll tell you what I remember. It's Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton. Mommy. Sorry. I watched this with Henry, and the moment you see her on screen, bundled up in her little white fur coat, riding at the screen full force in her little drawn carriage, he goes, oh yeah, I just want you to know, this is fully my sexual awakening.
I was gonna ask! He's like, I literally have that in my notes. I was like, was this anyone else's sexual awakening? So I'm glad Henry is also on that train.
No, a lot of things about this movie definitely, were pretty formative for me as a child, I think. And
Tilda's one
definitely, of them. Tilda Swinton, cradling Edmund and feeding him Turkish Delight. That changes a person.
Here's the thing, is I would also betray my entire family
for Tilda Swinton.
If Tilda Swinton's boobs were in my face.
If Tilda Swinton, with a culturally appropriative hairdo, rolled up and just promised me the world, I would simply follow her into battle.
Bro, the way she,
Edmund...
she, hand feeds him, these little Jell-O bites. No chance. Here's the thing, is that Edmund is the exact opposite of a character we talked about recently, who is Charlie Bucket. He would trade his entire family for a chocolate factory in a second. He does not even hesitate to take that candy and then ask for more.
Yeah, he was gonna sell out his family for Jell-O. for literal gelatin.
That's the worst thing, too. I get it was World War II and all that shit, but Jell-O? Buddy.
So Turkish Delight, I remember thinking that shit looked absolutely fucking bomb. In this movie, as a kid, I was like, what the fuck is Turkish Delight?
It's just the powdered sugar.
Right. I was like, I need to get on this. And then I had a friend who, their family, ate it around the holidays. And I tried it. Shit, it's shit. It's shit garbage. It's flavored with rose water.
Oh, I actually kind of like rose water, but
but it's rose water and gelatin, basically. Yeah, no. And then you just cover it in powdered, it's like food coloring and powdered sugar. It's nothing.
Rose water, anytime I've had rose water, it's not like an overwhelming, like, taste. Like, it's really subtle. So that just feels like...
It's just soapy to me. It's just like grandma's bathroom soap vibes.
But yeah, no, if you're... Yeah, that sounds great. It's one of those things, too, like, for the longest time, I didn't realize that was, like, an actual thing.
No, honestly, that's pretty fair. This movie would, like, make up some shit.
Because why the fuck would I be eating gelatin covered in powdered sugar? Who does that? Not me.
Like, from an ornate silver dish from the hands of Tilda Swinton.
If it was Tilda...
Like, the whole thing is insane.
If Tilda Swinton gave it to me, I'd eat it, but...
Yeah. But, like, the way she babies him and then starts speaking to him very harshly is, like, that formed some deep... Right? Like, that did something.
When she slaps him later, I was like, oh.
Right.
Watching that back today, I was like, huh.
Yeah, right. Edmund is literally Judas, and, traitor, betrayal, he is the definition, and simply, I forgive him, because he's just a simp. And I get it.
Been there.
He's just simping, right?
Who hasn't?
Like, I get it, Edmund. What? Also, he's, 9?
He's 10 years old in this.
Okay, yeah, that's so fair.
Like, you can't expect a 10-year-old boy to know better when Tilda Swinton shows up in that gown.
Is this gonna be, like, telling of me that he was always my favorite?
I was gonna say,
character growing up.
He gives me Mike TV energy, going back to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
But I didn't hate Edmund. Like, I know he's an asshole, but, like, I very much prefer the middle siblings in this movie a lot more than either of the other two. Because here's my thing. Is Peter's a dick. Could not care less.
Fuck
And then, what's her name? Lucy? Lucy looks like she bites.
Oh my god. I felt pretty seen as a kid by Lucy because I also had that same haircut and I had, like, kind of fucked up teeth. I, like, had fucked up teeth and a bob, so I was like, hey, that's like me, but she was fucking annoying, and I was always, like, felt kind of seen by Edmund because, like, I always liked a character who was a pot stirrer, you know? I like somebody who's adding spice to the story, who's stirring the pot, so I was always kind of here for Edmund. I agree with you 1,000%. I thought that Susan was the definition of female beauty, like, standards. Growing up, I was like, that's what a pretty girl looks like.
An it girl.
Like, her lips are fucking huge, and she has this, like, beautiful brown hair and this, like, gorgeous
perfectly
skin. I was like,
curled
yeah, that's,
all
like,
the time.
Right, all the time. Even when she's, like, fighting for her life, it still looks great. Yeah, I agree, though. Fuck Peter, Republican energy, and Lucy, can you calm down?
Yeah,
girlfriend?
like, it's one of the...
Even though, yeah, she's, like, 6,
It's one of those things, like, I don't know if I hate her because I hate her character, if I just hate her because she's 8 years old.
Kids. Yeah, I just hate kids, right?
But it's one of those, we'll do a recap, but also, like, if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what kind of childhood you had.
Right, or at least just, like, I don't know, cultural relevance.
Also, I forget that people that, like, are younger than us probably listen to this podcast, so...
That's true. Yeah, we're like, fuck you if you've never seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is, like, okay, fair, super fair. No, but so the book came out in 1950, though.
Oh, she's been around.
The book has, I think the book has been a pretty culturally significant, like, since its release. So I think everyone's at least a little bit familiar with the general concept, but this is a long fucking movie. I think this might be the longest movie to date we have covered on the pod. It was 2 hours and, like, what? 2.5? Like, 2 hours 30?
Well, it's, like, with the credits.
Minus the credits,
it's
like
220. 220, yeah.
Because we're always out here praising the 90-minute film.
I had a hard time with this one. It drags.
This was 2 90-minute films back to back. You said you did an intermission, and that's, like, I think the way to do it.
There was not enough Tilda for me to be on the edge of my seat the entire time. But that's just me.
Meanwhile, she, like, maybe has the most screen time of, like, other than the children.
Know. Yeah.
But, she really... we can get into her outfits, like, give me life.
Okay.
But, yeah, so 4 siblings... in descending order of age: Peter, Susan, Edmund, Lucy.
The age range is 8 years old to 13 years old, so Mom was popping them out like rabbits.
The oldest one is
Yep.
13. Okay, well, I would say visually, he looks 16.
Really?
I'd say Susan looks 14, Edmund looks 10, and Lucy looks 6. Is what
Their
I
parents
would say.
were trying to, like, have these kids before, like, he got sent to war. They're like, okay, one a year. Turnaround time was crazy.
Right. Well, they also, didn't have, healthcare.
Yeah, true enough. It is World War II.
Right. There were no condoms. When was the condom invented?
Earlier than World War II. I just don't know how effective.
But yeah, it's set during World War II, and it's the Blitz, and, bombs are getting fucking dropped on London, where they live, and so the mom says, this is not safe, so you're gonna go out to the countryside and live with some estranged relative of some sort.
I don't even know if he was an estranged relative. I think it's one of those things, because they did that. I'm pretty sure they just sent kids to live with, random people that were like, hey, you need to take these kids in so they're safe.
Oh, then I understand why that lady was so pissed, because I'd be pissed too if it's 4 random kids were just, fucking around my mansion, my countryside manor. Yeah. But they basically, they go to live in this house. Lucy goes into the wardrobe. She finds this magical world. She comes back. Her siblings don't believe her. Then they all end up there, and then a bunch of shit goes down. She meets Mr. Tummus, who tries to kidnap her, and then they're gonna turn them in. Sons of Adam, daughters of Eve, people aren't supposed to be in Narnia. He's gonna turn them over to the White Witch, but then he doesn't, and then they find these beavers, and then the beavers help them, and they're trying to escape, but then it turns out that there's this prophecy that these 4 humans are gonna come and, end this decades-long war that has happened between the White Witch and Aslan, who are, the good and bad figures here. And so the 4 humans, they get up to some mystical, magical, debaucherous shit. They're getting chased by, wolves or something. And then they meet Aslan, who's a giant fucking lion, and then he's like, okay, yeah, even though you're children, you gotta go to war. Then they meet Santa. Santa gives them weapons. They're going to war. But Edmund is a fucking class traitor, and so the White Witch is like, he's mine because by law, traitors are bad, and I get to deal with the bad guys. And Aslan is like, do not fuck with me. I'm gonna protect the kids. But so basically he's like, I will die on the cross to die for their sins. And so Aslan dies, but then it turns out that if he dies in the place of a traitor, it doesn't really count. So he comes back to life. They fight in this huge battle. They win, and the 4 children become the royalty of Narnia, and they get crowned, and then they live there their whole fucking lives until they're adults, and then they get spit back out through the wardrobe, and then they're kids again, and that's the end of the film.
That was great. That was an outstanding recap for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it just does kind of make you realize how much of this movie is filler action sequences.
It's a lot. I definitely got bored at multiple points of the movie. It's tough because it's I'll just be sitting there, I'm like, okay, I know I can just kind of peek at my phone because there's nothing going on.
Yeah. It is one of those, this came out in 2005, so, wasn't really an option, but, something as iconic as this probably should have been made into a miniseries. Yeah. It could have been, a 10-episode miniseries, 40-minute episodes, Netflix original type beat thing. I think if they were to do it today, that would kind of be the route to take it. Because, yeah, especially for a kids movie, really long. They were definitely kind of trying to do, a Lord of the Rings for kids situation here. And I know that they had, gotten the rights to do it, way previous, and they had tossed around doing it, are we going to set it in modern times? Are they going to be American? And then with the success of Harry Potter, they were no, back to the roots, classic British, stick to the manuscript, whatever. And then Lord of the Rings had come out at this time, too, so basically they were just kind of riding the waves of success from Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and I think that they were good in making that call of, stick to the book, do it right by, because I think people who were super big fans of the book would have been fucking pissed, right? If they had done, it's the 1980s in America, and they're kids. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. I definitely think that, keeping it to the original, plot points, or not plot points, but setting and all that shit, definitely did it well, because it did, what is it? The budget for this was, $180 million or something like that, and I think it brought in, $745 million or something like that.
But that's also a crazy huge budget, especially for that time. And obviously they used the fuck out of it because...
It makes sense.
It It's a little crunchy at times, but I'm gonna say, seeing this in 2005, this was like the most epic proportion of CGI, especially like with the talking animals and like very up close detailed shots of talking animals too.
It was
I think this was probably like a very early example of very impressive use of CGI.
I put this on the same level with, and for some reason we keep going back to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory today, but I put it at the same level as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, maybe a little bit under. As well as Pirates of the Caribbean, because this was also in the same time period. One of the only places that really looked super crunchy to me was the scene where they're, like, crossing the river and all that shit. And I was like, that is very, very obvious.
Green screen. The Santa scene as well, there's a couple times when it's, like, so obvious that it's just the 4 actors in a studio, in, like, a green screen room and nothing else. And I'm just like, oh, like, they really are trying to make us believe that they're in the woods right now, and they just simply are not. But I do think it's made up for, like, I wasn't visually annoyed at the heavy amount of CGI, and even today, with, like, very good technology, I'm annoyed when there's too much CGI in a film. So I think that just goes to show they definitely used the budget effectively. I also think the costumes are fucking awesome. Let's, like, spare Tilda Swinton did not need to have dreadlocks. She did not need to have, like, that was a choice. I remember as a kid being like, I remember as a kid being like, that just doesn't look right, like, on her. No. Like, it just doesn't, she has this kind of big, upswept dreadlock do for most of the film, which just, like you said, definitely a choice, not a good one. But it was 2005.
One other choice that I will say was not a good one was a lot of the casting for the child actors. I did not like nearly any of their performances. I think whoever played Edmund was probably the best. I liked his. But, like, the rest of them, they were giving me nothing. I won't lie to you. Especially for, like, a movie that has, like, as big of a budget as this, and to think about how many kids they probably looked at to cast for this, and this is what they ended up with, I'm a little shocked.
I think that these 4 unclockably look like siblings. I think. In the face, so even though, like, Peter has blonde hair and blue eyes, and the rest of them have, like, brown hair of varying shades and, like, brown eyes for the most part, in the fucking face, they all have the very same round cheeks, the same kind of button nose, the big lips, like, very, very distinct similar features, to the point where I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. I think they based it off of how much these kids looked like each other, and not based on how good they were at acting, because it also goes to show none of them are still acting today.
Yeah.
Like, Edmund is a fucking politician in the UK, and he's a Tory, which is, like, not, that's, like, kind of our Republicans, I guess, if you could kind of compare them. Yeah, so everyone's like, Edmund is a fucking Tory.
You know what? Adds up.
I think Lucy is... Yeah, right? Yeah. I think Lucy is like a poet or a writer. I was trying to look up at what these kids did, because I'm like, none of them still act. I know that for sure. But I will say that that little Peter, this little baby Chad Michael Murray, this whole movie, I was like, oh, baby British Chad Michael Murray is, like, trying to wield a sword and failing miserably.
Right? Like, here's my...
I totally agree that, like, the oldest and youngest siblings just suck so hard.
Would you follow a 13-year-old into battle? Because I sure as fuck wouldn't.
Absolutely not. Especially when Aslan, Liam Neeson, as a lion, was my former commander-in-chief, and he says, no. This prepubescent little British boy. If I was one of those centaurs, I would have said,
I'm out.
I'm going to the other side. I'm fucking out of here. Not for me. I just, like, want to bring some attention to how fucking heavy a sword is.
Incredibly heavy. Like, Santa must have put something in those things, because Jesus.
Right. Santa made those swords out of tinfoil, because I remember in Massachusetts, if anybody who listens to this from Massachusetts remembers Higgins Armory, it was a museum in Worcester, Massachusetts, where it was, like, all, like, old, like, swords and battle stuff from different times throughout history, and, like, a lot of it was armor. it's not around anymore. It's not a museum anymore. I think they donated it to some art museum that has like a smaller exhibit. But there was a section of the museum for kids where you could try on helmets. And I think I was maybe like 10 or so. And I put on a helmet and my head went straight back to the floor. And my mom thought that I had broke my spine because I was in a full back bend because I could not bear I lifted it and I put it on my head and nope, swung back. She thought my neck had broke.
Right.
So armor, I mean, obviously 10-year-old me was probably like 80 pounds, so it doesn't really go to comparison. But a fucking child could not wear chain mail armor. It would have been weighed more than him. Edmund could not. Edmund simply could not. And Peter, quite frankly, could not. Wielding that sword with one hand, no sir.
My favorite thing about this was, like, there's, like, the only one that shows any, reservation, like, to, like, wield weapons is, what's her name? Susan? Or something like that.
Susan.
But literally, Santa gives Lucy that dagger, and he's like, don't use it too often. And she's like, oh no, I could totally stab someone. Don't you worry.
Her little fucking letter opener of a knife. But then also he's like, this potion will cure any wound. And I'm like, you're giving this power to a 6-year-old.
Do you know how many birds she'd save?
Right? Well, I guess in Narnia all the animals are like sentient. Well, not that animals aren't sentient, but like
no, I know what you mean. I don't know. I just feel like Lucy, who would 1,000% get into a car with a stranger, shouldn't have a weapon.
And it always fucking annoyed me that they give Susan a ranged weapon, and she never uses it for such. When Susan and Lucy are way off in the distance, literally watching Aslan get slaughtered, I'm like, you have a bow, and like, I know that it was like, 100 against 1 kind of thing, but I'm like, you can't take your shot.
Okay.
You can't take your shot at the White Witch.
But how fucking morbid was it that they overnight, alright? Overnight, Lucy and Susan cuddle Aslan's dead body.
That's like that scene in The Revenant where he sleeps inside the horse. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where, like, to reserve his warmth, he sleeps inside. Doesn't that happen in Star Wars too? Yeah. Don't they sleep inside the husk of an animal? Yeah, cuddling with a dead lion.
Like, that's so foul.
Fucked up. Super fucked.
That's like you know when, like, I mean, I know you know, like, when your hamster dies, when you're like when you're 10 years old. I had a very dramatic loss of a guinea pig, like spewing its own organs out of both ends of orifices kind of situation, and I was in 3rd grade, and I didn't really give a shit, and I honestly didn't love it that much. And I was just kind of like, okay, and my mom was like, well, he's like shitting out his lower intestine, so like, he should say goodbye, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then he had died, and then she was like, I just want you to know that I just like couldn't deal with that, so I did put him in a trash can, like in a trash bag, and like, we're not burying it. And I was like, good call, Jen. Great call. 2 thumbs up for me.
Did not want to see or touch my dead guinea pig in any capacity. Sorry, that was a little morbid. Sorry for anyone out there who has dead pets who they cradled. I understand. The bond between me and that guinea pig just really wasn't there. But so I wanted to get into a little bit of how this is the Bible.
Okay, say more, because I saw all of, like, the allegories, like, in connection to World War II.
Oh. Is Tilda Swinton Hitler?
That's what I was getting. She said, round up the humans. Oh. I was like, oh my god.
Yep. No, I was getting, so I know that I don't know enough about the Bible to really speak on this, and I also don't really know enough about, like, the actual history and life of C.S. Lewis, but I do know that him and J.R.R. Tolkien were, like, besties, and J.R.R. Tolkien, like, converted C.S. Lewis to, like, devout Christianity. I believe. So I know that he did use a lot of purposeful religious allegory in his works. And I'm not even trying to speak to that. I literally was just watching this and I was like, yeah, they're trying to retell me the Bible right now. First of all, they call them sons of Adam and daughters of Eve. You could not get more blatantly just like, we're doing a Christian thing here, right? Who's Jesus Christ? Aslan literally dies on the cross. He dies on the stone slab. He dies for the sins of the humans. That was, Edmund is Judas. Duh. I think they all have kind of religious names, right? Peter is. That feels I don't know that
Susan or Lucy are. Hold on, let me do a quick Google search.
That was about the extent of I just felt like this was a little bit more religious than I remembered it being as a kid. Like, because obviously when I was 10, I didn't give a fuck and I didn't know anything. And I was not making those connections. But yeah, watching this time, I was like, oh, they're kind of laying on the, like, religious allegory kind of thick here, huh?
Yeah, no. Oh, 110%. Yeah, Aslan dying and then coming back to life was really...
Right, he rose on the third day. Like, he literally came back to life after dying for the sins. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so Jesus-y. I know there's probably a lot more, especially in the books. If anybody wants to come slide into our DMs and tell me about it, I'm not going to go read an article, but I will read your DM about it if you're really passionate about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I would like to learn a little bit more.
Can we, for a minute, talk about James McAvoy in this?
Oh my god. Was this anyone else's sexual awakening?
I was wondering. Not for me, but I have definitely
I don't think it was...
I've seen people... Yeah. I've seen it be discussed.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say anybody else, 'cause I don't really think it was mine, but I think I kind of get it.
Yeah.
He was just okay, I get big pedophile vibes.
Well, yeah, he's trying to kidnap Lucy.
Right, but he's also, a little too nice to her. Uh-huh. And, a little too, specifically always only talking to her kind of thing. And I'm just okay, please back up, sir. But I do kind of get the, he doesn't have a shirt on the whole time.
He's like a soy boy. He's a big soy boy, for sure.
Yeah, if this character was your sexual awakening, I want you to send me a mood board of, your crushes now or, your last 3 relationships, because I promise you it's, totally gonna check out. You're gonna be like, oh, yeah.
Speaking of him being shirtless all the time, do you think that they kept the set so specifically cold that James's nipples would just stay hard for the entire shoot?
Rock hard. Absolutely. Also, I think, again, the CGI, there's no way we can finagle this with a sweater. Or, they're you can wear a scarf a little bit of the time, but...
I understand, she, what is that? At one point, she turns him into ice or whatever, but I'm like, dude, his nipples could cut glass. There's no way that those things aren't just fucking...
See, you were paying attention to his nipples, and
they were
I was
in
paying
my
attention
face.
I was paying attention to the nose prosthetic. They gave him this prosthetic nose that didn't really have nostrils. It had kind of side slits, trying to emulate a goat or something. But it was so distracting to me that I was trying to figure out what they were trying to do with this nose prosthetic. Mm-hmm. That I was not paying attention to the nipples. I was staring at the fake nose.
This is James's one of his big breaks too, right? This is one of the first things that he ever did, I think, or bigger things that he did. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's 2005, so pretty. Yeah,
he was a young guy.
A good 2 decades ago. Yeah. And how famous he is now comparatively. Yeah, I would say probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he fully, the scene where he kidnaps her and then, has a mental breakdown about it, and she, has to console him, where she's like, are you good? And he's, hunched over, and he's like, I'm kidnapping you. I'm like, girl, they were too busy teaching these kids to do duck and cover for bomb threats, and they did not teach them stranger danger in school, because Lucy has zero... He, gives her sleepy tea, and, she takes a nap at his house. She does not even think for a second to, survey the surroundings. Mm. And then, the minute she comes back to Narnia, she goes right back.
Immediately.
He literally is like, yeah, I'm kidnapping you, and I'm gonna turn you into the evil police for being a person. And then she's like, please don't. And then she goes home, and the minute she's home, she's like, I want to go back and hang out with Thomas. No, what the fuck?
Here's my thing, is that I think this role was all the preparation that he needed to do Split later on.
Split. Yeah.
He's like,
I was gonna say to follow this up.
Oh no, shit.
Right? I was gonna say, to follow this up, if you wanted a very niche connection, you could then watch James McAvoy feeling kind of mixed about being a kidnapper as your movie theme. Narnia and Split. Really interesting movie marathon.
I don't know, the parallels are there. Also, I think it's really funny that the bar is so low for these kids, dude. Like, they're sitting there, they're like, yeah, no, it's the prophecy, guys, it's the prophecy. And there's one scene where, what is it? The wolves that have been chasing these kids for, like, half of the movie show up or whatever. And Aslan's like, no, guys, don't jump in here. It's Peter's battle. It's his battle. And he's, like, fighting this one wolf. And you know what the wolf really does? Is probably jumps on his fucking sword. He did the least, and he got knighted for it. And that's all the validity that you need to, like, you're like, okay, yeah, no, I'll follow this man into battle. What?
I hated that shit, because I was like, I'm rooting for the wolf.
For real. Tear his ass up.
I was like, right? I'm like, Aslan's like, no, don't help him. I'm like, I hope this kid gets clocked. I hope this kid gets his throat ripped out, because...
That wolf put in work.
Don't they have, like, they're like the cops, right? Those wolves are like
literally call them the secret police.
Yeah. Like the Gestapo.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, you are right. Big World War II energy. For sure in this movie.
Like World War II meets, I don't know, the Bible crossover.
I guess.
It's weird.
The two most, like, played out storylines of all time. But we're gonna add magic and talking beavers, so it's gonna be really fun for kids.
Yeah, no wonder they showed us this in school.
Yeah, right? They're like, this is gonna be educational somehow.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We'll make it work.
So, should I go grab Jen?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can just grab her, pull her in.
All right, so we are here with my mom, Jen, for our little interim chocolate or vanilla segment that she hosts. It's a little game that we play of her invention. Very simple rules. She gives us two options, and we just say which thing we like better. I'm trying to keep myself accountable by saying on here that I'm going to post them, because then I, feel more accountable to actually post them. So hopefully, if you keep your eyes peeled sometime over the weekend, I'll post them on our Instagram, and you guys can all vote for, which chocolate or vanilla thing you like better. And so, is there a theme this week?
There is a theme this week. So it's siblings.
Oh, great. To go with Chronicles of Narnia.
Correct.
That's really good.
Okay. So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate chip?
Oh,
okay. I think I'm gonna stay with chocolate.
I'll go chocolate chip because I don't love chocolate enough to pick it always, but I like a little bit of chocolate with my vanilla, so I'll say chocolate chip.
All right, me too. I'm a chocolate chip girl. All right, Thor versus Loki.
Oh, Loki. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. I love a pot stirrer.
Yeah, no, for sure, Loki. Thor is like, he's hot, but that's about it.
Same. I like the troublemaker. I like Loki. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen or Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, okay. So Mary-Kate and Ashley are a package deal, and then Elizabeth is her own separate entity.
That is correct.
Okay. I mean, I would say this could be a chocolate, vanilla, or a strawberry situation where we choose between the two, but I do agree that Mary-Kate and Ashley are just kind of a package deal here. I'm definitely gonna pick them. Mm-hmm. Their work on
Full
House was groundbreaking. I love when somebody plays a twin of themselves, and this is like reverse, like twins playing one character. So, yeah, Mary-Kate and Ashley, for sure.
Interesting that you clumped the twins as one person, Jen. As a fellow twin yourself.
You and me were just clumped as one person with our twin. Let's be honest.
Don't you love being reduced to a singularity?
One of the twins?
Yeah. No, I'm actually going to go for Elizabeth Olsen. I've really liked a lot of her work recently, so.
Yep, same. I'm with you, Emily. I would pick Elizabeth. Natasha Romanoff versus Yelena Belova from Black Widow.
I did not see that movie, and I don't care. I'm picking fucking Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh for sure. I've seen clips from the new Hawkeye series. I will probably never watch it in my life. But she's pretty funny from what I've seen. And yeah, it's just fucking Florence Pugh, Jesus Christ.
I know, you should watch it because it is really, really good.
I hate Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
You do. He's not in it as much as other people. Like, even though it's like his series, it's like he's like a minor player.
Who else is in it? It's Haley Steinfeld too. Yeah, no, I do really love her.
I'd go with Yelena, and you guys should totally watch Black Widow. She was awesome in it. Mufasa versus Scar from Lion King.
Like, I say I like a pot stirrer, but not like, what is it called when you kill a member of your own family?
Genocide?
Genocide is not when you kill, that's when you kill an entire race of people.
Sibling side?
So, yeah, like sibling side, or is also if it's like within a royal structure, isn't there a word like
I have no idea.
Patricide? No, that's when you kill your parent. That's patricide.
This is just murder.
Yeah, when you murder your sibling, that is far more than stirring the pot. Like, Edmund was considering it, but he didn't pull the trigger. Scar fully pushed Mufasa into the stampede, and that's just not cool. And Mufasa, James Earl Jones, I'm here for it, so I'll pick with him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. There is a line, and Scar did cross it.
I would agree with both of you and say Mufasa. Carly versus Spencer from iCarly.
Oh, Spencer.
Yeah, easy.
1,000% Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer.
Carly, she was the titular role, but she was the least important character in that whole show. Even Gibby was more important than Carly.
Mm-hmm. Spencer for the sweep. Is that the first time you said titular on this?
Yeah.
For this episode,
I was gonna say, you always manage.
Yeah. I haven't gone for the titular lion, witch, or wardrobe, which very low-hanging fruit.
Let's see, Ginny Weasley or Ron Weasley?
I was never really here for Ginny.
Ginny doesn't have a personality, at least not in the movies, and I didn't read all the books.
Yeah, she was just sort of there, I guess.
They didn't develop her at all. They were just like, oh yeah, Harry and Ginny.
And Ron, he was like on that chess set, risking it all for somebody he had met like 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I'm here for Ron Weasley.
Yeah, also I'm with Ron.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Let's go with Ron. Luke versus Leia.
Leia.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, same.
Like both good. Like there's not a wrong choice there, but there is a right choice, and it's Leia.
Yeah.
Theon Greyjoy versus Yara Greyjoy from Game of Thrones.
Both really good characters. I gotta go with Yara though, because like she just had the balls to pull it off. And Theon did not have the balls to pull it off, quite literally, ever. Yeah, she was always a badass.
Yeah, no, just something about Yara.
Yeah, I like Yara, but Theon's story arc was definitely the most proud of any character on that whole show.
Definitely.
Right? This one is a shout out to Erin. I don't know if you guys will... Dean Winchester or Sam Winchester from Supernatural?
Oh, Jen, as if you do not know that I was deep in the trenches of Super Hulock fandom Tumblr back in the day. I don't think I've seen all of Supernatural, but I definitely saw at least seasons like 1 through 8.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and that's like the hardest question you can probably ask anybody who is a fan of Supernatural. Like, are you a Dean girl or are you a Sam girl? And it's just like, it's Dean. It's Dean for me. And I think the majority of fans would agree, I think. He's just got it. He's just got that thing. I'm speaking for both of us because I don't think you've ever seen Supernatural.
I've never seen an ounce of Supernatural. So yeah, you said Dean, I'll say Dean. Sure, why not?
All right, I'm going to take Sam because he was on Gilmore Girls.
That's, yeah, fair.
Michael Corleone or Connie Corleone from Godfather?
I guess maybe this is controversial for me to say on our movie podcast, but fuck the Godfather movies. They are long, they're boring, and I don't care about them. I guess I'll go with Connie.
I'll go with Michael. I guess. I like Al Pacino.
Yeah, same. I'll go with Michael. Owen Wilson versus Luke Wilson.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Definitely Owen Wilson. Luke Wilson's like fine, but Owen Wilson just brings a little bit of that wow spice.
Exactly, yeah, no. I love any Wes Anderson movie with Owen Wilson in it. Does it for me.
Yeah, he's hysterical. I'm gonna go with Owen Wilson. Johnny Storm versus Sue Storm from Fantastic Four.
Oh, Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah, same. Johnny's definitely a better character, more like dynamic. Lilo versus Nani from Lilo and Stitch.
Nani.
Fuck Lilo.
Nani. Yeah, fuck Lilo. And Nani is like one of the most underrated, like underwritten represented Disney characters because she was doing the most. How old was she? Like, she was like fucking 17 or 18 or something.
Something like that.
Raising a literal child, like having a job, doing the most. We need to give credit to not single mom, but like older sibling taking the role of parent and sacrificing it all. Leela was acting like a little bitch, and I'm like, Nani, you could leave her on the streets. You gotta remind her that that is the truth.
Yeah, fucking Nani or die. That bitch went hard.
Agreed. Nani all day. Tina Belcher versus Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
That's. Can we add Jean too? Can we do a chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry and add Jean? Because you're like, I get it's like this compare the sisters.
You want to pick Jean?
But it's not that I want to pick Jean. I just feel like you gotta like give all three a fair shot. But I'm like a Louise. She just adds. She's the pot stirrer. That's why.
Is that the one with the glasses?
No, Tina's the one with the glasses. Okay. Louise is the one with the bunny ears.
Okay.
This is really tough because I myself feel in my heart a lot like Tina.
Yeah.
But Louise just makes me fucking laugh on that show. So I guess I'm gonna go with Louise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will go with Louise too then, because you guys did, because I don't watch that. I just put that in there for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Violet versus Dash in Incredibles.
Violet. I always felt kind of seen as like a shy girl character. I don't know.
Yeah.
Violet, I guess.
I like Dash. I always liked Dash. He was a dickhead. I can fuck with that.
I'm gonna go with Violet. Right. Okay, last one, a 4-way. Henry versus Jesse versus Violet versus Benny from the Boxcar Children.
Oh my god, Jen. You just like awakened a flood of memories.
And if you want to add in, watch the dog.
Watch the dog. Oh my god. So, Emily, were you a Boxcar Children stan?
The thing is, that was probably my favorite book series
like
as
book
a young
series?
one. Like Magic Tree House, fine, but Boxcar Children was my shit. However, I have exactly zero recollection of any of these children.
I just remember that they got milk and they like put milk in the river to like keep it cold, and I always were like, wow, they're really in the shit, huh? Because they were like literally living in an abandoned boxcar, keeping their milk in the nearby stream, and that's like book 1. And I remember being like, holy shit, you can be resourceful in the woods. But I think I always liked Benny, the youngest one, because he, I think, also maybe kind of got into like some mischief. Maybe. I don't remember a ton about their personalities, but they do be solving mysteries, though. Like, in the same formulaic pattern every single book.
I have no idea. Can I pick the boxcar itself?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
I remember there was one in the plot of it was like that one, like this old woman, like, didn't want to marry this guy because his last name was Bean. And she thought that would be, like, embarrassing. So they were, like, trying to solve this mystery or something.
That is.
But, like, they were, like, solving this mystery or something. And they were like, oh, like, you guys were, like, life partners, but you didn't get married. And she was like, yeah, it's because I didn't want my last name to be Bean. Correct me if I'm wrong. I had like really like Boxcar Children number 39, The Mystery in the Woods or something like that.
Yeah, no idea. Who's your favorite, Jen?
Yeah, I always liked Violet because she was a bit of a troublemaker.
Okay.
And that is it for sibling edition.
That was good.
Chocolate or vanilla. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That was a great round of chocolate or vanilla. Again, trying to hold myself accountable. Hopefully I'll post it on Instagram and y'all can vote for which sibling you like better. Right. Emily versus Alyssa. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Well, clearly because you're twins, you're getting lumped together.
Exactly. No,
so.
we're an entity.
All right. I love you guys. Have an awesome week, and I hope you feel better. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Jen. Happy holidays. All right. I don't have too much more to talk about with this, except I know that you wanted to touch on Tilda's outfits.
Oh, I was just thinking before, like, I think that the costuming is great. I think that she has a couple of outfit changes throughout this. Like, she has her outfit that she wears into battle versus like her big white getup in the very first scene is like it. Like, yes, queen shit. And like her little crown that looks like it's made of ice. I was just gonna bring up how I loved the costumes, but I did want to distinguish that I think her hair is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about who I would fuck, marry, and kill.
So we were like, before we started recording, we're like, okay, so are we allowed to add Aslan into the mix here? Because the three big adults are clearly Tumnus, the White Witch, and Aslan.
Here, we draw the line at like saying we'll play fuck, marry, kill with underage children, but the lion stays.
The lion stays. But it's just like there's just something he's got to stay. So
just tell me you're sexually attracted to a CGI lion. It's fine.
I mean,
the voice of Liam Neeson. I get it. I
know. And like kind of anthropomorphic. I mean, he just looks like a lion, but like when he's kind of talking, he's kind of got that human vibe. No, I'm gonna kill Tumnus because
pedophile vibes.
I am not fucking or marrying that man. Like I get it if that's out there, if that's like I can see the argument there, but it is not for me.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna kill him. I'm gonna fuck Tilda Swinton, and I'm gonna marry the lion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna see. I would marry Tilda Swinton, but I feel like I can't say I'm gonna fuck the lion.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna marry the lion, and we're gonna live harmoniously in a completely not sexual relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I want to ride on his back, but like just to the grocery store. Like it's not sexual. Well, it's like I do just.
It's also like saying like I want to marry Jesus.
Yeah.
Would you marry God?
Also, it seems like he's kind of doing that thing where he like goes off and like disappears for a few decades. So it's like we're married, but it's like very non-monogamous. Exactly. He's gonna leave for a few years. We're just gonna kind of do our own thing. But like once he's back in town, back at it.
Sure.
So I think that's the vibe.
But
and again, I'm not gonna marry Tilda Swinton either because that's Hitler.
True.
So, and then I guess it's not too different from the whole movie.
I don't think there's much else.
But I will say, I feel like wasn't either Peter or Edmund as their adult form kind of hot?
I think both of them were pretty. I mean, yeah.
I guess when they show them at the end, like as adults,
hot.
I feel like there's one of them. I was like, I guess one of them. Yeah, that's. But again, they're like only there for like a second. So yeah, I don't really know if my answers differ too much for the whole movie. I honestly think I'm still gonna kill Tumnus. Like, I think he needs to not. Also, I mean, I think the beaver's fine, but I wasn't like. I don't know. Maybe I'll kill the beaver.
Yeah. No, there's.
And I'm gonna kill Mr. Beaver, and I'm gonna marry Mrs. Beaver. She makes a lovely home. I think we could have a happy life together, me and Mrs. Beaver.
I like that for you. I like the, what is it, the fox. I feel like I could have, I could get along very well with that fox, instead of marrying.
But I'm gonna want, I want, a spell that's gonna turn me into a beaver. Like, I want to be a beaver with her. Because the house would just not be proportional. No. Like, we're gonna have to do some changes. Like, I would rather just be a beaver.
That's fair.
We can live in that cute little dance together. Like, it could be nice.
That makes total sense. Honestly, I think if I had to kill someone, because I know we've talked about killing kids before, I would kill...
Lucy.
I was gonna say Peter, because he's fucking annoying, but I could really go for either of them, and I would be I'd be satisfied. Lucy would take those fucking chompers at me and try to take a chunk out of me.
I would say she has a better excuse because like everyone kind of sucks when they're 6, but like Peter really sucks. He doesn't have as much of an excuse. I mean, I guess everyone sucks when they're 13 too, but like
none of the ages in this are ideal.
Yeah,
like if everyone was aged up, like if Peter was like 16 or 17 and Lucy was maybe 13, I think I probably would have liked the movie better. But I just can't stand that age range of children.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Maybe that is also why those child actors just weren't really doing it for me, because I'm just like, nobody ever really gives a great performance at an age less than 12. Like, very rarely is a child less than 12 giving a performance that is admirable.
I feel like I've seen a lot more, like, in recent years, though, a lot more, like, outstanding child actors.
That's true.
But, like, early 2000s, no one's really doing it for me.
That's actually true, because right off the bat you said that, and I thought of Room, Jacob Tremblay in Room, amazing, and then The Florida Project, Brooklyn, what's her name? That little girl from The Florida Project. Those are two very young child performances in the past handful of years that have been, like, really outstanding and admirable. And, like, not only was I not annoyed, but I was impressed.
Jojo Rabbit, I can't remember his name. He's standing out to me a lot. Roman something. And the little friend, too.
Yeah,
they were really great.
The little comedic relief friend. Yeah, that's very good.
I'll give it to Freddie Highmore, though, in Going Back to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think a lot of the kids in that were pretty decent, but I don't think it was asking as much.
Too much, yeah.
So.
I agree. And so did you have any thoughts about what to eat or drink with this? I didn't actually eat in real time. I didn't eat or drink anything particularly interesting with this. I guess I don't have any super insightful answers here. I think just definitely, like, big winter vibes. So if you want to, like, something cozy like an eggnog or a hot cider. I think we've said that for, like, the past couple snow movies, but it's just very Christmassy, very that. Also, I said, like, ice cream, because everything's kind of cold.
Enough.
I think I also said this for Fargo, so, like, again, really repetitive with my food and drink choices. And don't fucking get Turkish Delight, because, like, fuck that.
You don't want a fucking Jell-O cup? I think just get a big-ass Jell-O cup.
No.
My suggestion...
Jell-O shots, maybe.
That's
Jell-O
a great
shots
idea.
with powdered
my
sugar
God.
on top?
Yeah. Oh, make Jell-O shots. That's a great idea.
Jell-O shots with... And, like, put powdered sugar on top for the culture, I guess.
Love that. That's actually... Yeah, no, I came with nothing to this table today. Jell-O shots are the only other thing that I had recommended. I was like... I was joking with Dara beforehand, I said apple juice, because they're all fucking children. But you could do, like one of those, like, apple cider mimosas or some shit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would also say, if you wanted to, like, get inspired by the flavors of Turkish Delight, like a rose water, I know that there's a pretty good, like, rose-flavored ginger beer. Like it's like a botanical ginger beer that I personally like. I don't know how popular it is at, like, other grocery stores across the country, but, like, yeah, maybe also, like, elderflower liqueur, I know, is, like, kind of popular in, like, gin drinks sometimes. So if you wanted to do, like a florally kind of potion-inspired type Turkish Delight-esque drink, I think maybe there's something.
Yeah, I think rosewater is an interesting choice, and I remember our friend Jack, he was supposed to be on the podcast once, and then we lost the podcast. But my friend, our pal Jack, has shown me, what is it, like, it's pretty much like a frozen ice, like Italian ice, like rosewater thing that you can, like, if you have, like, rose syrup at your disposal, you can just make it, and it's really fucking good. But if you're going for, like, that sort of, like, ice cream vibe and everything like that, and for some reason you just have rosewater on you, go for that.
I guess. Yeah, really weak with the...
I think Jell-O shots are a great idea for this one. Because if I wanted to watch this movie again, I would have to be a little inebriated.
Pretty fun. Well, I think I watched it maybe when I was 10 for the last time, and now I'm 23. Yeah. So, like, another 13 years, right? Like, I'll watch it again. Oh, I can't do math in my head. What's 23 plus 13 is 36? So, when I'm 36, ask me again to watch this film, and maybe I'll say yes. And then what would you follow this up with? I know we said Split in our conversation, which would be pretty funny. I also, I mentioned during Jen's sibling round that I have this, like, fixation about movies where somebody plays a twin of themselves. And who has done this? Tilda Swinton has done this in the movie Okja, that also has a large CGI animal character. So I think you watch Okja, available on Netflix, directed by Bong Joon-ho, one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And Tilda Swinton gives an amazing performance as twins.
I didn't realize he directed that. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah,
amazing,
that's
right?
A good-ass movie.
Also, with my favorite actor of all time, Paul Dano. Just shouts out Paul Dano. He's in that movie if you're a Paul Dano fan. Go watch Okja. Everyone go watch Okja.
I would recommend, this is just my personal stance, and what I would do, one of my favorite young teen novels, fantasy realm movies, and I think the best one in the last 20 years or something like that, to my knowledge, or maybe not 20 years, 10 years, 10 years. I'd say The Hunger Games.
I knew you were going to say this. You've been a Hunger Games stan since day one.
I was a little slut for those.
As I do recall. And yeah, I think that, there's something really special about reading a book, as a between the ages, I'm going to say of, 9 and 15, which, I know that's a big range, but, I think there's something really special about reading a book and, loving it and then getting to go to the movies as it comes out. And I think that was a rare instance, and that I think a lot of kids our age got to do that with the Hunger Games, especially as they came out, over the years, you were kind of at that point in the series. And the teen dystopian novel, craze that kind of swept our age group around that middle school time. Definitely something.
It definitely holds a special place in my heart for that reason, because I remember it was 7th grade, and I was reading it, for school sort of thing, and then, right when I finished, I remember being told, don't read ahead, and this is, the only book that I ever was I'm reading ahead for this. But I remember, immediately after finishing the book, the trailer for that movie, came out, and I was floored, and I, counted down the days kind of thing, and it was still probably my favorite, book-to-movie adaptation, to date, so.
Which is, hard disagree over here, but I love that for you.
I was just so far into it.
No, I remember. I was there, because it was, every single kid in our grade read that book, whether it was assigned to you or not. It was a cultural phenomenon. I think Twilight was a little ahead of us. We were a little young to be reading Twilight. I still was, but I wasn't quite in the age group where my peers were as well. But I think that the Hunger Games was the thing that it was it was the moment. But yeah, I guess enough about. We'll have to do those
for
movies
sure.
sometime.
You'll see a different side of me. This is my Brokeback Mountain.
And I think that we'll probably disagree with some things on that, which will provide for some pretty interesting discussion, because you and I usually are on the same page about most things. And then, that's the last question.
Well, actually, no.
So
that's a lie. What would you rate this movie?
Oh, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I think it was good. I think it held up. Pretty good representation of a very, culturally significant book. I think the sequels are nothing special to be talked about. I remember really enjoying this as a kid. I did enjoy it upon my rewatch. Like I said, I don't really feel the need to, watch this again for, another decade. But watching this for the first time in a very long time, I was I remember very specific details about this movie for having not seen it in 10 years. And I think that really goes to show how impactful it was if I could remember, lines of dialogue and very specific scenes from the last time I watched it when I was 10. But like you said, performances from the kids, not great, a little too long, a little, drawn out. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
I think I'm gonna hit it with, honestly, a 4.5. This movie did not do it for me. I remember it didn't really do it for me as a kid. I think the length definitely is one of those deterring factors. There's just a lot of dead space in it, for me, which I don't love. But, I mean, it was still decent CGI. The kids' performances was also, really, a little bit. I'll take points off for that.
This is not super relevant, but I've exposed myself as a Tumblr girl of the past, deep in the trenches of 2012 Tumblr type. That was my middle school life and culture.
I remember.
I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to that, because that's kind of our vibe and our steez. But I can close my eyes and see in my head the Tumblr post of the 4 kids from Chronicles of Narnia with what Hogwarts house they are. The analyzation and breakdown of Peter is Gryffindor because he's brave. Susan is Ravenclaw because she's smart and logical. Edmund is Slytherin because he's a little bitch. And Lucy is Hufflepuff because she is kind. And I can close my eyes and literally see, it's them getting crowned, but it's edited to look like Harry Potter. I thought I'd end on that note because, really, If you were there, you were there and you know it. And I'm sure there are going to be people out there who are like, know exactly what I'm talking about. Please, if you have screenshot, like if somebody can find me a screenshot of that fucking post, like please send it to our DMs because I feel like I can literally see it in my mind. But thank you all for listening. Snow Month next week. We will be wrapping it up and then we'll be ringing in the fucking new year. Which is awesome. We're also coming up on our 1-year Swampiversary in February. We'll have been doing this podcast for a whole year, which is pretty cool and exciting. So we've got some fun stuff planned for the coming weeks. Like I said earlier in the podcast, go check out our featured episode on 3 Tickets 2, and they'll be on our show sometime soon. So also get pumped for that. Some cool Australian accents to throw into the mix with our boring, flat American vocal fry lady voices. And all of our links to all our social and stuff. If you want to send us a DM literally anywhere, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, we have an email. Send us an email.
Follow us on LinkedIn.
In the description below. Yeah, right. We literally have a LinkedIn if you want to become our professional business. If you want to endorse our skills on LinkedIn. I don't really know what those skills would be.
Bullshitting.
But yeah, we're coming up with cocktail pairings for early 2000s nostalgic films. And that I wouldn't even endorse us on. We really we bullshitted this week. But yeah, go follow us and definitely DM us your suggestions for movies or themes or chocolate or vanilla ideas or like literally anything. We love to hear from you all. And goodbye and good night.